Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Connection with the Weekly Comic Book Roundup. We've made our way through this week's X-Men books, as well as a few others, including one of our DC books so far. And now let's move on to this week's Spider-Man books, as well as something a little different and surprising at the end. Kicking this off, we've got Amazing Spider-Man number 29. Where we left off, Dr. Octopus has taken over Oscorp Tower and intends to get revenge on Norman Osborn. And Doc Ock's old arms have reached out first to J. Jonah Jameson and then to Spider-Man for help. Though, as Doc Ock managed to take over his Osborn's systems, well, he did kind of work over Spider-Man a little bit and messed up his armor. So the issue begins with the Jameson wearing the arms and carrying Peter through Manhattan. And, well, so Peter's now trying to figure out how to help Norman. Elsewhere, Norman Osborn is being put through a Beyond device, which Doc Ock stole. Basically, in an attempt for Doc Ock to... Doc Ock is trying to turn Norman evil again. And that conscience of Norman's is actually kind of holding. Elsewhere, well, Norman Osborn's apartment, in fact, or back at J. Jonah Jameson's place, the old tentacles are decide they want to connect with Spider-Man. Elsewhere, a couple of members of the NYPD hear a scream, go to investigate, and they find a woman webbed up with a note saying, "You're welcome." The woman is apparently a dog walker. And she's been webbed up by the web-wanging warrior himself, Rec. There's a note saying, "That's right, true believer, Rec is back. Will he help Spider-Man? Probably not. Will he save the city? Certainly not. Will not show up until a later story arc, but we didn't want you to forget him, and Ed really wanted to draw him." Yes. And to be fair, Ed McGuinness's art style really works well with Rec. It's like it's honestly kind of like the character was designed for Ed McGuinness to draw. But Doc Ock has also managed to get into Oscorp systems and figure out just what Norman Osborn's secret master plan is, and destroy it. Though there is no master plan. Osborn is just, being an industrialist, making stuff. Most notably, an electric plasma jet engine. But Doc Ock wants to know what Osborn's plan is so he can blow it up in front of Osborn. And Osborn says he's not lying. He is trying to make up for the harm he's caused. Back with Jameson and Spider-Man, Spidey decides that probably the best bet at the moment is to, bond with the arms. And he does so, and it's an odd sensation, though. Peter's saying that and wondering why he feels like he missed the arms. But he needs tools. Otto continues his interrogation and his enhanced interrogation of Osborn. But Otto has something to show Norman, which is going to cause Osborn to lose that warm fantasy of being good that comforts him at night. At Osborn's apartment, Spider-Man is repairing Doc Ock's arms and making some aesthetic adjustments, painting the arms red and the harness portion to look kind of blend with his costume a bit. Noting that an octopus is the only thing with 8 legs. But apparently Otto intends to inject something, presumably Goblin serum, into Norman. That is where the issue ends. It seems that in the case of both Otto and Peter, the entirety of the Superior Spider-Man storyline has been removed from their memories. Hence why, and the story before it, wherein Otto and Peter initially body swapped. Hence why Peter might have felt as though he missed the Doc Ock arms. But otherwise, I'd say they're definitely looking good in the arc. This is a run that has had its hiccups. A big hiccup a few issues ago, but yeah, they're clearly trying to get back on track. Moving on though to our next book, we've got Miles Morales Spider-Man number 8. So where we left off, Cletus Cassidy had been stopped, not destroyed, but stopped, and begin a new arc. So in Brooklyn, there's a block party going on. Miles, some of his friends, as well as his girlfriend Tiana, are there. Miles is getting some ribbing from the fact that last time one of these occurred, he ate too much from the food trucks and got sick. But him and Tiana talk a bit, and he explains that he's been feeling just kind of overwhelmed, and his spider sense has just been, everything's always seems to be going off, and she thinks that maybe he's having panic attacks. Nearby, some goons are breaking into a Beyond Incorporated warehouse. They've managed to shut down the security systems and get in, and someone is attacking them. That someone is the Hobgoblin. Which one? I'm not sure. I think it's Roderick Kingsley. There's a mention of Ned Leeds, so makes sense. But there's a noise, and Miles' spider sense goes off, and this time it's actually the real thing. And so he asks if Tiana has her costume with her. They go to investigate and run into Hobgoblin. So they deal with Hobgoblin, but try to be smart. They try to get him away from people back inside the warehouse. However, he had managed to everything turning back on, the security, including the security systems. Well, yeah, it's locking Spider-Man and Starling in there with Hobgoblin. There's an explosion, and Miles and Tiana are separated, and Tiana is attacked by an unseen opponent. Miles is trying to figure things out, trying to how to get out of there. Takes out some drones. Hobgoblin mentioned something about a higher cause, so that should be interesting to see what that higher cause is. The issue ends with Hobgoblin sneaking up on Miles. Good start. The goblins are some of my favorite Spider-Man villains, and I kind of like. I the first Goblin I really got to know comics-wise was Hobgoblin, so I have a bit of a nostalgic tinge for him. Though I came to like Demon Goblin a little bit more, and Green Goblin's grown on me even more over the years. It's Norman's return. So, but yeah, solid start. And yeah, it's nice seeing Hobgoblin. I'm interested to see what this greater cause that he's building towards is, and just which Hobgoblin it is. I mean, it's probably Kingsley, but who knows? Maybe Jason Massendale's back from the dead. Maybe. I mean, you don't know. You know, people come back from the dead every day in the Marvel Universe. Like every day, there's someone that says, "Okay, you're the ones who come back today. All right, so let's get all your information so we can get you back into society." Moving on, though, to our next book, we've got Red Goblin number 6. Once again, the last issue of Red Goblin tied in with the Carnage Reigns arc, which ended in which Red Goblin tried to drive the Goblin out of Cletus. Drive the symbiote out of Cletus Cassidy, but their minds linked, and well, it overwhelmed Normie and Rascal. But the Goblin Nation's still around, including their leader, Phil Urich, the Goblin King. So the Goblin Nation, they're doing kind of more simple heist type stuff with a member named Kendra explaining that that in the old stories, goblins represent are tricksters, boundary crossers, baiting the powerful into the pigsty. They reveal things as they truly are, and that's exactly what they do in Goblin Nation. They drag all the liars, hypocrites down into the gutter, so as for the whole world to see. If they have to make a little scratch on the side, well, they're only human. They're celebrating a well done, a successful heist, and Carnage tries to get get Goblin King to come out and join them, but well, the actual Goblin serum isn't arresting the decay of his body. But he has a plan. They're going to kidnap a boy named Timothy Anders. Billionaire parents they'll pay handsomely for his return. And he wants Canada to handpick a crew, most trusted and loyal people. Goblin Nation is bigger than the two of them, but they both know he's strong leadership. A move like this will cement her place in line of succession after he's gone. And he has a gift for Contra. There's going to be one Goblin King. What the family needs is a Goblin Knight. So he's passing along his Goblin. Looks like his Hobgoblin costume to her. At the American Museum of Natural History in New York, Stanley Osborne's class is viewing an exhibit about Siberian wolves, and apparently Rascal is hiding in Normie's memories. Though Rascal states that he's hiding from Sad Normie because Sad Normie only makes angry chemicals, and angry chemicals make Rascal hurt people. But they're also at the museum, as is Tim Anders, who is in fact Normie's friend at school. They hear a teacher scream in pain. His finger's getting broken by the new Goblin Knight, asking where Tim Anders is. Tim volunteers, gives himself up while Normie convinces Rascal to come out. And just keep, Normie will stay in the driver's seat. But Red Goblin has a pumpkin bomb and tries to rescue his friend, but Goblin Nation guys are they do manage to get away with Tim, but they take their lumps. And Kendra comes to realize that perhaps Red Goblin is just a kid. Red Goblin leaves to pursue, and, well, cops have been called. Which is, of course. But Condra and her crew are hiding out with their kidnapping victim, Tim. And Kendra calls up Phil. And she explains that they ran into Red Goblin, and Kendra thinks he's a kid. However, Goblin King is sending someone to take care of them, explaining that's like they turn on each other. So sloppy. And the person he's talking to asks, just one thing: what to do with the kid? And, well, Phil tells Crossbones it doesn't get much sloppier than a dead hostage. That is where the issue ends. Ugh. So, for everything I said when it came to Hobgoblin, for the goblins, for the longest time, my favorite Green Goblin was hands down Phil Yurts, because doing something different with the Green Goblin stuff and trying to be a hero. Sadly, the decision came from it was decided to have him turn evil over the course of the last thing, and then kill him off. But yeah. Anyways, moving on though to our next book, we've got Web of Carnage. I think this is just a one-shot. So, at the end of Spider-Verse, Morlun escaped. I would say we'd be catching up with him there. Meanwhile, the Carnage symbiote and Detective John Shade have been traveling around. Carnage got his big bad Asgardian weapon and got rid of it, and has decided to make John Shade his host. And so now Carnage gets to see everywhere that John Shade has been, and learns about the web of life and destiny, and ends up on Earth 31. When he arrives, he comes upon Morlun. Recounts parts of his past, but also knows about the symbiotes, including Meridius, and that clearly Carnage is trying to fight against them. However, elsewhere on Earth 31, Venom of Earth 31 is up against Earth 31's Spider Totem, Kraven the Huntress Spider. But the two of them are duking it out. It turns out that Venom on Earth 31 is the host of the Venom symbiote is none other than Cletus Cassidy. But Kraven the Hunter Spider is suddenly granted the powers of an inheritor. And so Carnage and Moreland go to investigate, with Moreland wanting his power back, and and Carnage opting to jump in against Venom, revealing that Venom is in fact Cletus, and the symbiote opts to ditch John Shade, realizing that he doesn't need a host. Old habits. And he's going to go to the Hunter Spider, and Shade goes up against Venom, but all the various hunting gadgets that Kraven the Hunter Spider has don't really do much against Carnage. And as Carnage is about to kill Kraven the Hunter Spider, Moreland comes in and basically manages to take his power back. But Carnage attacks Moreland and actually realizes that he kind of owes Moreland a debt, because he's seeing what for showing him what he never wants to become. So Carnage thought that with the life force of Venom within it, the other symbiotes would follow him, or follow it as they do Venom, that he'd be accepted. But what he's become, all powerful, no need for a host, because he wasn't accepted. Because he refused to bow to the way things had always been. It's apparent that the cost of Moreland's power, as in fact Carnage did intend to kill Moreland and just take his power for himself, the cost of the power is that would make him dependent, and he doesn't want to be weak. That's something Carnage doesn't want to be again. The other symbiotes will follow Carnage because they'll see that he's the strongest, that he deserves it, and that he's far better than Eddie Brock. And if they don't, they'll just kill him. And so to pay the debt to Moreland, he's going to let Moreland leave now with whatever meager amount of power he's reclaimed. Offers over for 11 more seconds. Moreland takes him up on it and leaves. Leaves with 31. And while Carnage does plan to eventually kill Kraven the Hunter Spider, well, Shade's got with that Venom, and well, he's got a ignited lighter with some oil that's spilling out, and then Venom says, "I can catch the lighter before it hits the oil," and Shade says, "You can, but do you want to?" Adding that there's a part of Cletus, the part that burned down Santa's orphanage, wants to see him burn, even if it means that Venom might too. Especially if Venom might. But Hunter Spider comes in, deals with, punches out Venom, and Carnage sends John Shade back to Earth 616. 2 weeks have passed, and Shade has stopped running, stopped fearing the darkness. Instead of dreading the time that's almost consumed him, sees him as a gift, proof he can immerse himself in it and keep who and what he is. What use is a good man who does nothing? By merging with Carnage, looking into the abyss instead of turning from it, Shade can better know the mind of his enemy, his prey, be a more effective hunter. His time with Carnage was a curse, was a blessing. However, Shade is glad it's over. Though he has a point where he has a small cut on his face that heals up rather quickly, and as it's healing, a slight red tendril is shown. So perhaps it's not as over as he thinks. This will be continued a brand new Carnage #1, coming soon. That is where the issue ends. Marvel has definitely got some interesting stuff involving symbiotes coming out at the moment. So, and good symbiote stories are good symbiote stories. Moving on though to our last book for the moment, we've got Void Rivals #1. What is Void Rivals, you might ask? Well, Void Rivals is the beginning of the Transformers G.I. Joe reboot being done by Walking Dead creator Robert Kirkman's Skybound Studios. So, Interstellar War, two starfighter pilots, each from opposing sides of the war, crash on an uninhabited planet. Darak, the Argonian, and Salisa, the Zertonian. They come upon each other, they fight a bit, and then they start to think they're both stranded. Maybe if they work together, they could actually leave. It takes some work for them to trust one another, and Salisa notes that it's alarming how little modification is required for Argonian parts to work with a Zertonian ship. But it looks like either an influx cable or an outflux cable was placed in the other spot, and the ship's engine blows up. Salisa puts Darak out as he is on fire from the explosion, and Salisa walks off, not knowing what she's gonna do. Later, while Darak is trying to maybe fix things himself, Salisa returns. She's found something. It's a ship. It's crashed. They hook up a portable generator to it, and the ship transforms. The robot that the ship transforms into calls himself Jetfire, a Cybertronian scientist. Analyzing his hands and everything, he notes that there's microscopic fungal growth in an atmosphere almost devoid of moisture, and wind erosion, which means he's been stranded on the planet for millions of years. But Jetfire transforms and flies off, stranding Darak and Salisa. Darak is determined to get off the planet and says, hey, the components in their flight armor might be all that's needed to turn the wreckage into a suitable spacecraft. The planet's got a breathable atmosphere. They can survive without their flight armor. They'll be exposed to more solar radiation, but as long as they complete the vehicle quickly, they should be fine. And with Darak, Salisa stating that, there's sacred decrees that say they can't, remove their helmet. They can't, each side can't see what the other looks like. But Darak says he'd rather look at Salisa's misshapen Zertonian face than die. And so they remove their helmets, and they're the same. Darak has a red gem on his forehead, while Salisa has a green one. But Darak sees this and says that it's just like his vision. First, Salisa asks, what vision? And that is where the issue ends. This kicks off the Skybound Studios Energon Universe, which will be continuing with new issues every month of Void Rivals. And then in October, we get Transformers #1, December, Duke #1, and January, Cobra Commander #1. And yes, those will all be covered extensively. I guess I love this cover. Nice little homage to the old Sesame Street Golden book, the monster at the end of this book. But yeah, this strong start. I'm honestly, and when I first heard about this is a second printing. The first issue came out last month. When I first heard about it, like Void Rose, okay, whatever. Found out it was Transformers. I was like, okay, well, I'll get that just to figure out what's up with this Energon Universe. But I gotta say, after reading this, I want to see how the Energon Universe goes. But man, I mean, I'm curious about the Zertonians and the Argorians just as much. Anyway, that is going to do it for now. Huge shout out to Patreon patron Xander Lee. Thank you so very much for your support. It's much appreciated. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Mastodon, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off saying, live long and rock hard.